If you talk to anyone who knows even a little bit about gaming and asked, what do you think about Mortal Kombat? Regardless of whether they like the franchise or not, they would likely mention the franchise's most iconic feature, the fatalities.
Naka wins. Fatality.
Today I'm going to undertake the fatal task of ranking all of the fatalities from Mortal Kombat 1. I'm only going to be ranking the base game plus Shang Tsung in this video, but whenever all the DLC is finally released for MK1, I'll consider redoing this list with all of the DLC fighters and seasonal content included. I'll be ranking all 61 Mortal Kombat 1 fatalities in order from worst to best, and that means there's going to be some minute differences between why one fatality is better than the previous one. I'll try to explain to the best of my ability why each fatality is great or not, but it'll be impossible and monotonous to explain why I think it's better than everything that preceded it, so I won't even bother attempting that. I'm going to rank them within a mostly self-contained context, with a provision in place that I'll consider the quality of the character's previous fatalities and other instances of their current fatality from the past in comparison to their MK1-1. Also, I've broken all 61 fatalities into 4 tiers: bronze, silver, gold, and platinum, with bronze meaning bad and platinum meaning inspirational. With all of that established, let's rank them. Number 61.
Fatality.
Each character's fatalities are framed around the capabilities of the character, or at least that's the way they work in theory. In Mortal Kombat 3, Jax was given the original version of the Giant Stomp fatality, breaking this convention. It was one of the first times this finishing move trope has been broken, and it does not work here. The fatality just doesn't make any sense at all, and what's worse is that Ermac in Mortal Kombat 9 did this fatality much better, since it makes sense for a Soul Senate synthesized via sorcery to do something like this. I enjoy the cameo fatalities in this game because most of the time they do a great job at updating and re-envisioning each corresponding character's most iconic classic finishing move. This Stomp fatality from MK3 can get right in the bin though, because this one has never been good, and I would have preferred his T-1000 arm slicing fatality. Number 60.
Fatality.
This is just an odd fatality. Each one of the scorpions summoned by Kuai Liang here are revenants, or at least they seem to be that way with the way their eyes look. Like I said in the Jax ending, fatalities are typically structured around the abilities of the character they come from, and this is another case where the fatality does not fit the character. These scorpions could be from other timelines, I suppose, but I've never really liked the multiple timelines plot twist of this game. Number 59.
Fatality.
Sonya's Kiss of Death finishing move is my least favorite one from 1992's Mortal Kombat, something I talked about a little more in depth in my Mortal Kombat 1992 Fatalities Ranked Worst to Best video. It's nice the fatality got a next-gen glow-up, but it doesn't change the fact that I've always found this one kind of lame. Number 58. There's one thing I like about this fatality, and it's the way the bones transition into flesh after Frost finishes the move. But other than that, the fatality is weak, especially when juxtaposed to Frost's amazing fatalities from Mortal Kombat 11. Number 57.
Fatality.
The story goes that vampires are associated with bats because Vlad Dracula Tepesh, historically used as the basis of Dracula the Vampire Lord, had trained a horde of bats to fly at his enemies, allowing his army to rout them easily. Because of this, I expected Nitara to have some type of bat-based fatality, and I was excited at the prospect, before seeing what NRS came up with. The bat horde flying down the throat of the defeated opponent is nice, but the final flare of the finishing move is lacking. Instead of Nitara ripping off the front of their body, I would have preferred to see the bats force their way out of the victim's body, kind of like how Smoke does in this MK9 fatality. Another possible way this could pan out is to have Nitara rip open the opponent's neck, allowing the bats to escape that way. This works in the neck-biting trope of vampiric lore, but I suspect part of the reason NRS went this route is so that they could reuse the split chest cavity asset. Number 56.
Fatality.
Tanya's spectral hands thing is a great addition to her character, and she stands out more in this game as a result. I like the impact of the hands on her weapon. It gives off a vibe of judgment and justice, representing Tanya's characterization through her fatality, something that doesn't actually happen that often in this game. It's that thematic consistency that makes that fatality higher than the previous ones. However, Tanya goes through a lot of effort in this finishing move to just create a simple spine rip effect, meaning I can't put this any higher. Number 55.
Talk about talent. Meet Hollywood's newest star. Huh?
Fatality.
If there's one award Johnny Cage has earned over the course of the franchise, it's an award for having the funniest fatalities. Anytime I show someone the fatalities from even 1992's Mortal Kombat, they always laugh or chuckle at the way Cage makes the pixelated head of his defeated opponent bounce around on the ground. Johnny's Hollywood Walk of Shame fatality makes me immediately think of his Here's Johnny fatality from MKX. It's a hilarious fatality, but both it and this one suffer from the same thing: depreciating returns. Each watch of these fatalities is worse than the last, and the best fatalities are the ones that are being watched to the point of ad nauseum, which is why this finishing move is going to round out the bronze tier on this list. Number 54.
Fatality.
Fatalities don't need to be complex, and this statement is a hill I'll die on. I think sometimes simple fatalities get a bad rap as being quote-unquote boring, but I don't feel that way. It might be because I've been playing the franchise for most of my life, and a lot of the earliest fatalities are all simple, but sometimes I prefer the quick and concise finishing moves. Such is the case with this one, a fatality many of you out there might not like as a result of its simplicity. Number 53.
Fatality.
Shao loses his Warhammer in MK1, favoring a great axe in this entry. And I expected there was going to be some kind of axe action in one of his fatalities. It's simple, but I like the way he throws his enemy down here, making us all witness the power of Shao Kahn. General Shao is a shadow of his former self, but at least this power displays his brutality a bit. Number 52.
Fatality.
This is a simple enough fatality, and the best thing about it is the way it showcases Serena's redesign. I like that this fatality move works in her tail and flame motif, but there's nothing special about it past that. Number 51.
Fatality.
The intestine lasso thing is the best part of this fatality, but it's the only part I would say I liked. It's a wacky idea, and I do like these crazy finishing moves from time to time. Number 50.
Fatality.
My favorite part of this fatality is the way Shujinko squints at his work, as if he were painting a masterpiece and regarding his brushstrokes. This fatality is super confusing though, because what exactly did Shujinko do? His finishing moves have always been move androgynous, and what I mean by that is that since Shujinko doesn't have any special moves of his own, he's always done the equivalent of normal type attacks on his victims. I wish his fatality instead took elements from a myriad of other characters to show how he is able to copy the skills of every other fighter on the cast, and maybe we'll get something like that in the future titles of this franchise. Picture this, a fatality that uses Sub-Zero's Ice Ball, Scorpion's Spear, Li Mei's Firework thing, and then Raiden's Lightning. The possibilities of a fatality that utilizes all those elements is insane, and it's a damn shame that they didn't take the opportunity to do that here. Number 49.
Fatality.
The name of this move, the Red Sea, is super loaded, and I love the way NRS has always worked puns and allusions into the names of their things, starting all the way back with Rain himself, who is named Rain and is purple after Prince's song Purple Rain. The first part of this fatality is wonderful. I love the way the swirling water whirlpools the flesh from bone, staining the water with the tint of blood. If that's where the fatality ended, it would be higher on my list, but the second part, the splitting of the Red Sea, is not good. I get the joke and I appreciate the biblical pun, but I don't like how the splitting section turns this finishing move from something wholly unique into something that reuses the split person asset present in other fatalities. Reused assets are a thing all games do, and as long as the reused assets make sense and improve the fatality, they're fine in my book. It's just that I don't think this part needs to happen to make the fatality better, and ironically, it makes the finishing move worse. Number 48.
Fatality.
I believe this is the first finishing move for Mortal Kombat 1 I ever saw. Just like the Rain move we just discussed, Blended it has a great first half with the sword functioning as a blender, swirling around on the victim's neck. I do really like this part because it's so uncomfortable with the angle the designers used. Seeing the horror in the eyes of the Blended sets the tone for this move, reminding me in some ways of this Quan Chi fatality from MKX. You'll notice the endings of these fatalities are eerily similar in some ways, and in both cases the ending could have been better, hence this placement on this list. Number 47.
Fatality.
It's as if the developers combined elements of Galactic Donuts with one of Shinnok's MKX fatalities to create this finishing move. It's fine, but nothing special. Number 46.
Fatality.
This is a nice update of an MK3 fatality, but that's all it has going for it. It's an explosion of just fine. Number 45.
Fatality.
Li Mei is giving Gambit in this fatality. It's weird that she's able to do this type of thing because it's never shown in any other part of her character or move design, but it's a fun idea for a finishing move. No other character on the cast can do something like this, making it fairly unique. Number 44.
Fatality.
I love Motaro finally coming back, and this is the best fatality he's ever been given. It makes great use of his strength, imposing figure, and biomechanics. It's strange that Motaro is infused with metal because it's always implied in MK lore that Outworld is technologically inferior to Earthrealm, making up for this inferiority with magic. This Motaro is clearly the one from MK3, so I'm sure if a modern Motaro was ever made, he wouldn't have that techno side to his design. Number 43.
Who's your queen?
Sindel's most unique feature is her hair, and I like the way this fatality uses that feature. The queen's power is truly on display here, and the way she says, "Who's your queen?" is the best part of this whole thing. Number 42.
Fatality.
The best thing about this fatality is the moment where the opponent's head first hits the ice wall. The way his horrified eyes smash into the ice, adhering to the wall, is fantastic. Sub-Zero making his opponent do a flick impression is going to go down as one of the better fatalities in MK history. Number 41.
Fatality.
It's a simple and clean javelin throw, but simple doesn't mean bad, once again. The 3D era of MK is marked by its utilization of weapons. Each character had one, and it became a core part of their character design. This fatality is a nice callback to that era, and I like it for that reason. Number 40. Sindel's first fatality shows off her hair, and her second shows off her screams, the other half of her unique special moves. I love the part of the fatality where it's clear the victim has lost their hearing, right before losing their sight too. Capping it off with the skeleton asset is a nice touch as well. Number 39. This is a great use of Smoke's smoke character trait, and this is probably the most ninja accurate finishing move from an MK ninja, other than Smoke's next fatality. Number 38. This is an excellent update of the MK3 fatality, and like most of the updated classic fatalities, is a far better version of it. This is the first finishing move to show up in my recommended reels on Facebook, so I would hazard a guess that a lot of newer fans were blown away by the worldwide destruction on display here. It's goofy, nostalgic, and a definite win. Number 37. Reptile has had an eating motif in most of his finishing moves over time, and this is definitely one of the better ones. Number 36.
Fatality.
Everything I said about Smoke's first fatality is true here, and I just like this one better. Number 35. This is the best version of Reptile's most iconic MK2 fatality, and I especially love the acid touch they've added to the tongue, dissolving his prey's hands before he pulls off their head. It's a nice touch. Number 34.
Fatality.
Can you imagine being Reptile here? That would be a terrifying way to go, and I've never seen anything like it in MK before. Shang Tsung in general uses his new alchemy aspect to great effect, as we'll see in number 33. Number 33. This is maybe the best melt into a puddle fatality to exist in the franchise. There's a lot of things this finishing move gets right, down to the small detail of the way the fire liquid flows out of the gashes in the victim's throat, burning as it dribbles down their body. The way the flesh is burned from the victim's body is a great moment in this finishing move too. Number 32.
Fatality.
This is likely the one that's going to get me a negative comment in the comment section, but I just like this one, and I can't really explain why. Number 31.
Fatality.
Raiden can be uncompromising, and I love the way his power is on display here. It's a little on the long side, but I like the way it looks like this new Raiden is piecing together the depths of his power in the middle of this fatality. It's like there's a story being told in the finishing move itself, which is a great touch. Number 30.
Fatality.
What an excellent hat trick you've got there, Kung Lao. Number 29.
Fatality.
Mileena puts in a lot of effort for a simple head rip effect, but the brutality on display in this finishing move makes it stand out amongst its peers. Number 28.
Fatality.
I don't like that Raiden needs the medallion to use his powers, but I do like the idea of making him use it to channel unfiltered power from the heavens to burn his opponent to the bones. The Flying Thunder God ending is a nice touch too. Number 27.
Fatality.
Goro is strong and always has been. It takes no effort whatsoever for him to do what he just did, as shown by the way he slowly lifts his victim up before savagely finishing them. Number 26.
Fatality.
Garrus received a major glow up in Mortal Kombat 1, and that's evident from his very first fatality. The sand picking the opponent clean is a great effect, and it uses his Sands of Time motif really well. The close-up on the opponent's face is definitely the best part of this one. There's a lot of cameo fatalities coming, and clearly I really like these. Starting here, I'm going to show the old one right after the new iteration. In all of these cases, I think these cameo fatalities are a nice improvement over the original, adding the perfect amount of viscera, blood, and other textures. Most of these I won't have anything to say about, but whenever I do have something to say, it'll be after the retro finishing move. Number 25.
Fatality.
Number 24.
Fatality.
Kano wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Number 23.
Fatality.
Sub-Zero wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Number 22.
Fatality.
Kung Lao wins. Flawless victory.
Number 21.
Fatality.
Scorpion wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Number 20.
Fatality.
Darius channels his inner Quan Chi here, beating his opponent to death with their arms rather than their legs. It's a nice callback to the PS2 era, something fans like me have been waiting a long time for. Number 19.
Fatality.
This isn't a cameo fatality, but it is a remake of Kitana's MK2 fatality, and it is the best version of Kiss of Death we've ever seen. Number 18.
Fatality.
This is the best usage of Scorpion's Spear in any fatality, and it is so much better than his other fatality in this game. Number 17.
Fatality.
I swear someone at NRS likes Dragon Ball Z because this finishing move is giving Krillin's Destructo Disc move. Number 16.
Fatality.
Havoc has some amazing fatalities in this game, and the fatalities of a character are sometimes their make or break. Havoc is bound to have more fans after this game. Number 15.
Fatality.
Boone and his team have always been great at utilizing puns in the naming of MK moves, and that's on display in Liu Kang's Double Dragon Fatality. He shows his true godhood here, and the effortless way he splits his opponent here is going to stay with me for a long time. Number 14.
Fatality.
Baraka is nowhere near the same character he was back in the day, but his fatalities give us a glimpse of the old dog. A Baraka barbecue is an event you just can't miss, and his human steaks bring all the boys to the yard for sure. Number 13.
Fatality.
Kung Lao's hat slice is one of my favorites from MK2, and this one just takes that fatality and adds so much to it. This is a true MK1 update to that classic finishing move. It's going to be hard for a Kung Lao finishing move to top this one. Number 12.
Fatality.
This is probably my pick for best Kenshi fatality of all time. It's clean, effortless, quick, and matches the character completely. Number 11.
Fatality.
Ashura has a dancer quality to her flow of moves, so the way she uses burning light as a ribbon, dancing through her victim's flesh, is so wonderful. There's a beauty to this finishing move that just doesn't show up anywhere else in the franchise. Number 10.
Vroom, vroom. And boom.
Fatality.
Johnny Cage is the richest MK character, second maybe only to Kano. That wealth has never really shown up in his fatalities before, and I like the way they finally brought this aspect of Cage into his finishing moves. Number 9.
Fatality.
Godlike!
Number 8.
Fatality.
Did you see the way Havoc reforms after he's finished? That's such a disturbing part of his character, and I've always thought that fatalities could theoretically be canon if done on Havoc. Some of them at least. His Ulna and Radius make a decent weapon replacement set to his classic Morningstar too. Number 7.
Fatality.
Just like Katana's Kiss of Death, this is the best reimagining of one of Baraka's classic fatalities we've ever seen. I love seeing these callbacks. Number 6.
Fatality.
Do I really need to say anything as to why this is so high on my list? Number 5.
Fatality.
Historically, the spear is the most effective weapon of all time. Obviously, I know guns are more powerful, but they've not been around near as long as the simple flint and stick combo. Raiko demonstrates his mastery over the spear, and my jaw literally dropped when I saw this for the first time. Number 4.
Fatality.
I knew from the moment Ashura was revealed that she was going to have some type of heavenly light fatality, and I like the way this finishing move reimagines her old deception one. Number 3.
Fatality.
My god, what a meal. Jesus, this is a good one. Number 2. This was so close to being my favorite finishing move in this game. The fireworks motif of Li Mei couldn't have been better expressed in any other way. I've used this fatality more than any other in my MK1 playtime. Number 1. Garrus borrows a lot from Injustice 2's Flash in his fatal blow and this fatality, specifically from Flash's ultimate move. I wouldn't be shocked to learn the person who designed this Flash move designed both Garrus' fatal blow and second fatality. This is possibly the best fatality to ever exist in Mortal Kombat, a statement that I'm going to have to revisit whenever I rank all of the fatalities from the entire franchise in a future list. Firstly, the framing of the scene is the most cinematic of any finishing move on this list, and the way the opponent looks at their own head, jaw gone, before losing their own is a loaded shot. Imagine what's going through the victim's head, holding his own head in his hands. It's hard to tell if there's any dread or realization dawning in their eyes, but every time I see this, my brain fills in that gap. In the moment before the final blow, the dead-to-be realizes their fate. And this is why it's so loaded. This finishing move has the crazy violence typical of the best MK fatalities, the morbid humor of the best Johnny Cage fatalities, and the infinite rewatchability of the classic ones from the 90s era. Just like the time-looping nature of the finishing move, this fatality has everything, and I would guess it appeals to all fatality fans. endings. And that's the video, my guys. If you made it this far into the video, thank you so much. And if you liked the video, please like, share, subscribe, and ding that bell for more really fatalistic gaming content. I plan to redo this list whenever all the DLC drops for the game, and once MK1 has run its course. I plan to rank all MK Fatalities worst to best at some point. If you liked this video, consider checking out my MK1 endings ranking video, and stick around. I'll be ranking all of the fatalities and endings from Mortal Kombat 2 later this month. Regardless of what you choose, have a wonderful day, gamers.